guys, welcome back. Today we are going to continue talking about some more details, I guess, of the Empire. Specifically, the colleges of magic and some of the information in the army book about cities and settlements. But before we get into that, I just want to plug my other channel. So I run this other channel called The Pub with a couple of my friends, and it's a video game drinking game channel. So if you're interested in that, I will put a link in the description. So go check it out, or don't. Entirely up to you. Anyways, let's talk about the colleges of magic. The colleges of magic were founded in Altdorf after the Great War against Chaos, when Magnus the Pious asked Teclis, greatest of the High Elven mages, to pass on his arcane lore to the men of the Empire. Teclis, in his wisdom, realized that the safety of the whole world would one day rest with the Empire, and so he agreed with Magnus's request. Soon, the most powerful human wizards of the age were taught the true nature of magic. Under Teclis's tutelage, the race of men learned how the magic blew from the northern realms of chaos in the form of 8 sorcerous winds. Each of these winds of magic represented a unique lore of magic. Teclis realized that the minds of men were inadequate to master more than a single lore, able only to control a small part of this full magical spectrum. As a result, Teclis founded 8 separate orders, one each for the 8 magical disciplines. These became known as the Colleges of Magic, and they were the foremost schools of magic in the Old World. The Colleges of Magic exist to this day. Each specializes in the teaching of a single type of battle magic, to the exclusion of all others, and has its own distinct sorceries, eccentricities, obsessions, and unique set of traditions, according to the nature of the magical energy they harness. The master of the Colleges of Magic is known as the Supreme Patriarch, and throughout the Empire his word is law in all matters magical. Though his edict is broad, the Supreme Patriarch retains a fierce loyalty to his own order. Indeed, it has become traditional for an incumbent's first decree to be the realignment of the Wheel of Magic, the revered symbol of all the colleges, so that his own order's symbol stands preeminent at the wheel's zenith. The Hall of Duels. Every 8 years, a wizard who has proved himself worthy may challenge the current Supreme Patriarch to a magical combat, held in the Hall of Duels. This octagonal chamber contains the Staff of Volans at its center, and the first wizard who is able to grasp it will become the next Supreme Patriarch. As soon as the duel commences, spells of great power are unleashed in a conflict that can only be safely contained by potent magical wards, and the combined powers of a dozen or more master wizards. Tradition demands that this duel is not fought to the death, though on more than one occasion the magical feedback has left little of the loser to be buried. More worrisome, but fortunately it's really blurry, the PDF is, much rarer, are those occasions when the magical wards about the duel fail, and a roiling cloud of magic escapes, wreaking havoc as it courses through the streets of Altdorf. The Gold Order. Wizards of the Gold Order, whose symbol is the soaring eagle, study the lore of metal that flows upon the wind of Camon. Much of the Gold Order's magic is of an alchemical nature, but its wizards are also able to conjure molten lead that scorches and consumes, or they can corrode, strengthen, and even melt steel in the blink of an eye. The wizards of the Gold Order practice the transmutation of metals, as well as developing spells of forging and runic inscriptions. They are the most accomplished makers of magical devices in the Empire, and these skills make the Gold Wizards very rich. Gold Wizards enjoy the most prestige of all the orders, for gold has a mysterious, beguiling effect on men, sometimes enough to overcome their inherent fear and mistrust of wizards. As such, gold wizards often find employment as court wizards to nobility and rich mercantile cartels. The College of the Gold Order is akin to a great forge, which lies upon the edge of the River Reich so that the college's furnaces can be cooled by the waters. It is surrounded by crackling energies and dozens of towering furnaces that belch out pungent, multicolored smoke. The Light Order. The lore of light lies under the province of the Wind of Hish, and the symbol of the Light Order is the Serpent of Light. The wizards of the Light College, also known as White Wizards, are rarely seen without treasured tomes and arcane scrolls in hand. Light magic is renowned for its powers of protection. Yet a white wizard can also conjure blazing light to blind and burn the enemy. This lore is the hardest to master, for the Wind of Hish is particularly diffuse. To compensate, the Order employs many acolytes to aid its more senior wizards. This is unusual amongst the colleges, for wizards of other orders rarely take on more than a single apprentice at once. The pyramidal hall of the College of Light itself goes largely unseen. It exists within a magical aether realm, parallel to but separate from the mundane world. Deep in its labyrinthine dungeons lies the greatest sorcerer's treasure vault in the old world, which also serves as a prison for many evil artifacts. It is the sacred duty of the Guardians of the Light, an arcane society of the Order's most powerful wizards, to keep them locked safely away from the world. The Amber Order. The wizards of the Amber Order use the symbol of the arrow and are devotees of the lore of beasts, which is heard as an eagle's cry upon the wind of Gur. Amber wizards are renowned for their savage appearance. Their hair is wild and unkempt, and they dress in furs adorned with bones, feathers, amber beads, and primitive talismans. Few wizards can withstand the touch of amber magic, for it is the magic of bestial minds and untamed places, and it cares little for the ways of civilized cultures. The power of the Wind of Gur resides most strongly in the thoughts of savage creatures, and amber wizards can commune with animals of all kinds. They also have the ability to assume the strength of the greatest beasts, and can induce primal states of terror in others. The college's territory in Altdorf is but a totemic center, and an occasional gathering place used only in rare and unusual circumstances. Amber wizards are reclusive hermits who prefer the company of beasts to their fellow man, and make their refuges in deep forests and high mountain tops. The Jade Order. The wizards of the Jade Order embrace the Wind of Girin, symbolized by the coil of life. The wandering wizards of the Order are druids who harness the energy of nature. Jade wizards wear green robes and traditionally carry a sickle as a badge of office. They often walk barefoot to better feel the energy of Girin through their feet. A Jade wizard's power is linked to the seasons, being vigorous in spring, powerful in summer, waning over autumn, and weakest in winter. With a gesture they can summon forests to obey their command, and with a touch they can heal fallen comrades. Jade wizards tend to roam the dark forests where life magic flows more freely. There, far from the press and bustle of the cities, the wizards learn from the trees of enemy troop movements and imminent threats before returning to Altdorf with the news. The Jade College in Altdorf is an unusual place, for its high walls conceal a wondrous arbor of trees whose boughs form the beams and pillars of numerous towers and mighty halls. The Bright Order. The lore of fire, or pyromancy, is born upon the searing wind of Akshi, the study of the Bright Order. The Key of Secrets is their symbol, representing the unlocking of knowledge. Fire wizards are easily recognized for their red robes and wild orange hair and beards. They are ruddy of skin, and are frequently adorned with tattoos that writhe with the weaving of their spells. They are of a fiery temperament, their anger capable of changing form from a guttering flame to a raging inferno in a split second. The Bright College is a marvel of architecture. Blazing towers rise like pillars of fire into Altdorf's sky. At the heart of the college, a gigantic beacon burns both day and night, and once cast an eerie scarlet glow over neighboring districts. The college now stands alone, however, surrounded by a blackened wasteland where, according to hearsay, a warren of streets once stood. The Celestial Order. The Comet of tower is the symbol of the Celestial Order, which is made up of wizards who study the lore of the heavens that comes from the wind of Asir. Celestial wizards, also known as astromancers, spend most of their time gazing into the night skies, plotting the movements of astral bodies. They are experts in divining the future, and the most powerful of the order can even scry portents by peering into crystal balls. Celestial wizards are equally feared and respected for the awesome powers that lie at their disposal. Their spells are able to call lightning from the skies and summon meteorites to smite their enemies. The 16 towers of the Celestial College are the tallest buildings in Altdorf. A shimmering dome of enchanted glass encloses the peak of each spire. The information gathered from these towers is fed into a vast, magical astrolabe at the heart of the college that spins on the head of a mystical silver needle. From this, the masters of the Celestial College read the myriad signs and portents in their bid to understand the Empire's potential futures. The Grey Order. The Grey Order studies the lore of Shadow, province of the wind of Ulgu. The Order's symbol is the Sword of Judgment. The Grey Order is the most secretive of all the colleges of magic. Indeed, though its members refer to themselves as Grey Guardians, just who or what they might be guarding remains unknown to outsiders. The Grey Order studies spells of concealment and illusion, which do not lend themselves well to the favor of ordinary folk. They are sometimes called trickster wizards, though never to their faces. More commonly, they are referred to as Grey Wizards, named after the color of their robes, hats, and wild wolfish beards. They are wanderers who are often employed to deliver vital messages across the Empire. What makes this so mysterious is that they seem to cover the vast distances involved almost invisibly and at impossible speed. The Grey College is a worn and shabby building in Altdorf's poorest and most disreputable district. Even the City Watch shuns this area, for it is a den of rogues, thieves, and murderers. Yet the Grey Wizards come and go, sometimes disappearing for years at a time, by a multitude of secret entrances and magical tunnels known only to the Order's wizards. The Amethyst Order. The focus of the Amethyst Order, whose symbol is the scythe, is the lore of death, carried on the carrion wind of Shyish. Amethyst magic blows most strongly in places of death, such as corpse-strewn battlefields and graveyards. Amethyst wizards tend to carry scythes, skulls, hourglasses, thorned roses, and other symbols of the grave. For this reason, they are also referred to as death wizards. Amethyst wizards have mastery over spirits, and it is said that they can steal the souls of the living and summon back black winds of death. Whilst such abilities are as nothing compared to the evil sorceries of true necromancy, their morbid association forever taints amethyst wizards in the eyes of the common folk. They are particularly loathed by priests of Mor, who are deeply suspicious of the amethyst wizards' penchant for lurking near their cemeteries. Indeed, the halls of the Amethyst College are akin to a great necropolis, and the stench of death lingers around it. And I would like to point out also, if no one's really familiar with the symbols of the lores of magic, if you put them together, they smack an awful lot of the Wheel of Chaos, which I think is pretty fun, and also, I'm sure, intentional on the part of Games Workshop. Yeah, anyways. Citizens of the Empire. Though the Empire might outwardly present itself as a single country unified under the throne of Karl Franz, the truth is far more complex. The Empire is a vast land, a loose conglomeration of individual and extremely independent states, barely joined together by ties of culture, religion, language, and common survival. These regional states are called provinces, and they were originally based tribal homelands of Sigmar's allied chieftains. During the founding of the Empire, these 12 chieftains became known as counts, and the boundaries of their realms were formally established. Over the centuries, the boundaries have changed, with new states emerging and others disappearing altogether. The former province of Zolland is now no more than a footnote in history, for it never recovered from the destruction wrought by the Orc war boss Gorbad Ironclaw, and its lands have since been subsumed by Visenland. The province of Drakvald is likewise no more, and its lands have been folded into those of Middenland and Nordland. Each of the Empire's surviving states is fiercely proud of its own heritage, while rightfully wary and sometimes outright disdainful of their neighbors' traditions. This is not surprising, for the provinces must compete with each other for mercantile, political, and military power. Though not common, skirmishes between neighboring states are not unheard of and occasionally boil over into all-out warfare. There are many idiosyncrasies, superstitions, and dialects within the Empire, and they vary widely from province to province. The southern and western lands of the Empire, such as Reichland and Nordland, are more cosmopolitan and civilized, or effete and snobbish, depending on whom you ask. Those who live in the briar-choked wilderness of the eastern and northern provinces, such as Sturland and Ostland, are generally more rustic and belligerent, having lived under the threat of invasion for most of their existence. These wild and untamed places breed hardy fighters who form the backbone of many of the Empire's armies. Contact with other nations and races off the battlefield are all but unthinkable to the common people of the Empire. Indeed, to an average Hochland citizen who considers the folk of neighboring Talabecland to be strange and untrustworthy, the inhabitants of distant Reichland would seem as foreign as Bretonians or Tyleans. Each province has its own forces, war machines, and distinctive iconography, just as the elector counts who rule over each province have their own favored strategies, tactics, and eccentricities. The armies of the Empire are as diverse as the lands from which they hail. The capital state of Reichland is famous for its regiments of elite great swords, armored in gold, trimmed steel, and adorned with the feathers of griffins, whereas the parochial province of Sturland is famed for its huntsmen, their uniforms ragtag and filthy, but their aim perfect over years of patrolling the beast-haunted wilderness they call home. So it is that when the armies of the Empire muster for battle, they often appear as a riot of color and variety, their soldiery arrayed in the full panoplies of war. Panoplies, that's a word I know I've heard before, but it's not very commonly used. Magnificent in scope and intent on bringing victory to the realm of man. Cities and settlements. Once the only political division in the Empire were the provinces, but over the years the largest cities have grown in importance and power, becoming self-governing and sitting equally amongst the provinces as new city-states. The citizens of the Empire are undoubtedly the jewels. The cities of the Empire are undoubtedly the jewels in the nation's crown, where the pinnacles of human achievement are clear for all to see. Glorious palaces are surrounded by many wonders, such as ancient temples, the gilded minarets of arcane universities, and the flag-swathed keeps of military institutions founded at the dawn of the nation. Despite the shady neighborhoods and corruption found in any urban environment, the cities are still havens for many citizens seeking knowledge, supplies, or protection from the perils of the wilderness. The cities and towns within the Empire are built in a variety of styles, from many different materials. The western towns tend to be the richest and the oldest, and here the Gothic architecture tends to be rendered in gloriously carved stone. In the east, wood is often used instead, and the border settlements of Ostland and Ostermark are often constructed from solid logs, hewn from the surrounding forests. The city-states are ruled by powerful burgomeisters, who are responsible for raising and maintaining armies in the same way as the counts of the provinces. The largest and most important cities which have become city-states are Altdorf, Nuln, Talabheim, and Middenheim. Altdorf, seat of the Emperor. Altdorf is the seat of Emperor Karl Franz, and it has been the imperial capital since the accession of Wilhelm III, Prince of Altdorf, almost 100 years ago. As the current seat of the imperial court, Altdorf supports a flourishing economy which attracts all kinds of people. It is a bustling city with a substantial community of merchants, adventurers, mercenaries, and fortune seekers from all across the old world. The wealth passing through Altdorf's gates and the political intrigues that unfold within its courts also support a rotten underbelly, a den for thieves, corrupt city officials, and assassins. There are certain streets that even the city watch avoids at night for fear of finding a dagger stuck between their shoulder blades. The city is renowned as a center of learning, and the University of Altdorf is the most highly respected academic institution in the Empire, where lords and princes from many lands come to sit at the feet of mankind's foremost thinkers. Altdorf is also home to some of the most important organizations in the Old World, such as the Colleges of Magic. The centers of magical lore and learning that are justly famous throughout the Empire and beyond. It is here that the Old World's finest mages learn their art, and where the Empire's deadly battle wizards are trained. Another great institution is the Imperial Engineers School, founded by the Tylean genius Leonardo of Miragliano. This school, which has been rebuilt on no less than a dozen separate occasions, following misguided experiments and catastrophic malfunctions, attracts inventors from all over the Old World, and is responsible for most of the Empire's technical innovations over the past few centuries. The Engineers School has provided the Empire with a number of experimental weapons, from repeating muskets to mobile battle towers and the formidable steam tanks. Altdorf stands astride the confluence of the rivers Reich and Tallebeck, and is renowned for the numerous bridges that traverse these waterways. Many of these bridges were designed by the Imperial Engineers School and are equipped with hissing, steam-driven pistons that raise and lower them in all manner of unusual ways, allowing the many trade ships to travel further up the Reich. The Reichsport, home of the Imperial Navy, is a deep-water harbor built on the shores of Altdorf, where even ocean-going ships can unload their cargoes. The city also boasts the famous Imperial Zoo, which houses all manner of large and fearsome monsters, some of which are trained and harnessed as beasts of war. These creatures have been captured from every corner of the Empire, as well as a few more curious specimens from the northern wastes. Nuln, Bastion of the South. Nuln is the Empire's second largest city, and it sits at the heart of the Old World's southern trade routes. It stands as an imposing bastion, its fortified walls bristling with enough heavy artillery emplacements to arm a fleet of war galleons. In previous times, Nuln was home to the court of the Emperor, and today it remains Altdorf's largest rival, both politically and economically. North of Nuln, the River Reich is too wide to bridge, and the Great Bridge at Nuln, whose central section can be raised and lowered through an ingenious mechanism, is one of the great marvels of the Old World. Though there are bridges at Altdorf, where the Reich divides into a number of lesser channels, it is a point of some pride in Nuln that none of the capital's bridges can be said to span the entire width of the mighty Reich. Nuln's reputation as a city of learning precedes that of Altdorf, although it has been overshadowed by the new capital over the last few centuries. Nuln is most famed for being the home of the Imperial Gunnery School, a sprawling network of forges and smelteries where veteran gunsmiths manufacture and maintain the Imperial artillery trains. Steam-powered air pumps work night and day to vent the acrid fumes of the blazing foundries, and portions of Nuln are forever wreathed in balls of choking soot and black smoke. Indeed, the dark smog clouds hanging over Nuln are such a permanent feature that many travelers use them to navigate. Many counts send their artillerymen to the Imperial Gunnery School to learn the art of ballistics, and crews trained in Nuln are highly valued. Talabheim, the Eye of the Forest. Talabheim lies deep in the Great Forest, and for this reason it is sometimes known as the Eye of the Forest, where, like the eye of a storm, all is calm amidst the surrounding danger. The city is built within a huge, shallow crater, many miles across, whose outer edge forms a rocky rim and a natural wall. This wall has been built up and fortified, with many tall gun towers, and effectively marks the boundary of the town. The land inside is extensive and includes farmlands as well as the city itself. The river Talabek flows around the outside of the crater, and where it flows past the southern edge of the wall, there is a fortified settlement named Talagad and a deep harbor. From the fortress of Talagad, a narrow road climbs the ridge of the crater and enters the city via a tunnel carved through the rock of the rim wall. This tunnel is the only entrance to the city, and a massive fortified gateway at each end of the passage makes Talabheim one of the strongest and most well-protected cities in the Empire. However, this protection is bought at a high cost, for the city's civilian populace lives in grim poverty to support Talabheim's demanding military, and an unforgiving martial law is in force at all times. Talabheim is also home to some of the most notorious criminal elements of the Empire, plagued by gangs who survive by preying upon the oppressed populace. Middenheim, City of the White Wolf. Middenheim is the city of the White Wolf, the symbol of the god Ulrich, patron deity of the city and its territories. The Temple of Ulrich at the city's heart is the center of his cult throughout the Old World, and its high priest, R. Ulrich, is one of the electors of the Empire. Middenheim is an impregnable fortress that stands atop the Ulrichsberg, a sheer-sided pinnacle of white rock that rears from the surrounding forest like the fang of a great wolf. 4 wide highways built on towering viaducts climb from the forest floor and provide the main access to the city. Wooden drawbridges connect the city gates with these highways, and these can be raised to isolate the city in times of war or plague. In addition, there are numerous cranes, chairlifts, and rope ladders that are used to pull goods and sometimes people up the sides of the cliffs. Ulrichsburg itself is riddled with tunnels, ancient tombs, and catacombs, but after several incidents involving mutants and reports of mysterious rat men, access to them is limited to the town guard and certain licensed adventurers who are permitted to search for ancient treasures. Marienburg, city port of merchants. At the mouth of the River Reich stands Marienburg, one of the largest, richest, and most corrupt and dangerous city ports in the Old World. It is a den of pirates, assassins, and black marketeers. Here, everything is for sale and nothing is without a price. Marienburg is also known as the City of Gold, which alone conveys a good idea of the wealth of this sprawling city. Nowhere else can exotic goods from as far away as the elfin kingdoms of Ulthuan or distant Cathay be found so readily. Long ago, Marienburg was a city of the Empire, but in 2429 the city's burgomeisters colluded with Emperor Dieter IV to secure their independence in return for a massive donation of gold to the imperial coffers. When this scandalous affair came to light, Dieter was quickly deposed, and Wilhelm III of Altdorf became the new emperor. Numerous attempts over the past decades to restore Marienburg to the Empire have all failed, and the city remains so fiercely independent that Theodoric Gausser of Nordland, nominally the ruler of Marienburg, is forbidden to return under pain of an excruciatingly hideous death. And I think that right there is where we're going to end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Believe it or not, we actually still have more to talk about regarding the Empire, but we're coming to a close here. So, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.